All right. Question number 12. We're getting close to the end here. All right, so the child has a ton of different problematic behaviors, okay? And they engage in mostly at home, but sometimes out in the community as well. But because there's so many problematic behaviors, how do I go about prioritizing them? All right, so now the first step is you have to make sure there's enough reinforcement for the child when they do something right. Because it's really easy for people to stop reinforcing a child the more and more misbehaviors that they have. And you have to make sure like, oh, does the child have any avenues to get appropriate reinforcement? So I had a similar case a long time ago. I took over supervision from somebody else, and this girl was super aggressive. You know, she would hit therapists, she would hit herself, she would spit, she would pull hair, she would throw things, she would cuss, she would say a lot of bad words and things like that. So she had all of these kind of problematic behaviors associated with her. So what we had to do is, okay, we got to make sure she's getting reinforcement, which means like, oh, every half hour or so, we had therapists go in to try to tickle her, to try to make her laugh, to get her to enjoy some interactions with the therapist. And then we set up programs specifically to make sure that she have ways to communicate, that she have ability to wait for something that she wants. And so we set up all of these kind of things to give her skills to be able to handle her situation. Now, because there's so many problematic behaviors, we knew we couldn't tackle them all at the same time, because then it would be an endless parade of interventions throughout the session. So what we did was we chose what we thought were the most dangerous behaviors. And the most dangerous behaviors we thought of were aggression toward us or aggression against themselves. So if they hit themselves or they pulled our hair, they attempted to hit us, that's what we wanted to get rid of first. So now this little girl was overweight, you know, and so what we thought the most appropriate intervention was to make her do some exercise, some jumping jacks. So every time she hit us or she hit herself, we would go in and we would make her do 25 jumping jacks. Now, of course, when we added this procedure, she got more mad and she refused to do it, or she would engage in more aggression toward herself or others. But at that point, we just ignored all those kind of things and we followed through. We made her do the 25 jumping jacks, and everything else we ignored until she completed the 25. So I think it was about a month, we got rid of all of her aggression, all of it gone, right? But then, as we expected, all the other behaviors went up. So the next behavior we decided to tackle was spitting, because it was just unhygienic. She would spit at us, it would land on our eyes and things like that. So then what we did was every time she spat at us, we'd take her over to the sink and we made her spit into the sink 10 times. We got rid of that behavior. Then we decided to tackle the throwing, because she would still throw things across the room and throw things toward us. And so that was just still another dangerous behavior. So we want to get rid of that. So then what we did is, we want her throwing skill to improve. So, every time you threw something, like, okay, fine, we're going to practice your throwing. So we go outside and we have 50 balls that she'd have to throw, and we'd have certain criteria for her throwing those balls. We got rid of that behavior. So all we were left with was cussing. She would say bad words, right? And she'd scream it. She'd say a conversational volume. She would whisper it, but she would just cuss a lot. So what we decided to do was, she had a hard time counting. So we wanted to work on her counting skill. So every time she said a bad word, then we would make her scream, counting 1 to 25. So it'd be like 1, 2, all the way to 25. And so in the beginning, we only chose like, if she screamed it, then we would use that intervention. And so what happens, like, then she stopped screaming it, and she would still say it at conversational level or whispering it. So once that happened, she stopped yelling it. We expanded the criteria to include times when she would say it at room volume where other people could hear it, and we would implement the same punishment procedure for it. And so then all we were left with at the end was the child whispering cuss words, bad words. She would just whisper it. But at that time, we didn't care anymore because nobody can hear you. Then it's all good, you know? And so that's how we tackled all of those behaviors, is that, oh, we took the worst ones, the ones that could hurt somebody or hurt themselves. We tackled that first. And then when we got rid of it, then we tackled the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.